Rockercar.se, I'm Endar, so I'm standing here together with Kaldor. We're here at IEM, and yeah, first of all, I just want to ask a little bit, how is the tournament going for you guys so far? You have been casting the whole day?
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun. I mean, we have Adebisi, we have as observer, which is always really relaxing because we can focus on the games, and I think the synergy between Apollo, Calaris and me is working really well. But the crowd, of course, makes a huge difference there. They are so close and they respond to everything that we do. And then we have so many Polish players in the tournament that they always have someone to cheer for. So it's pretty crazy. I love it.
And Poland as a country, have you been here before, and how is it the country for you?
Well, I've been here before last year, at last year's New Year's Eve actually, not 2012 to 2013, but the year before, and I love it. The food here is awesome, gorgeous women, the people are so nice, and I always wanted to commentate one of the events in Poland itself. So when I heard about IEM being held in Poland, I immediately contacted Carmack and talked to him. Was like, dude, listen, as soon as you're thinking about casters, I would really love to cast here, so keep that in mind. And yeah, he contacted me, we talked about it, and now I'm here, and for me it's a blast, it's brilliant, I love it.
Do you thinking about maybe casting some more IEMs? Like, do you want to get on this tour basically?
I would love to. This is the first IEM that I cast, and we also wanted just to see how it works, if it's good for both parties, and I feel it's a pretty smooth win. I enjoy being here, it works well with the staff and everyone. Of course it helps that most of them also speak German, but at this point I would really like to do more IEMs in the future.
And now I want to come to this part of the interview that I'm really interested in, and something that we don't usually talk about, but that's some exercising, some working out, because I know it's a pretty, pretty big interest of yours, to keep your body healthy. So first of all, I mean, can you tell us a bit about maybe your workout schedule, day per day?
Well, usually what I try, when I have the time, I go 5 or 6 times a week, and currently I'm on a 3-day split. I always kind of bounce between a 3-day and a 4-day split depending on how much I travel, because quite often I'm gone for a week or maybe just a weekend, so I have to kind of try to stay in shape and not fall off a bit too much. But at this point I want to go back to like a 3-day split, which I feel gives me a little bit more flexibility just in general. Working out is, I feel for me, not only important because of like looking good or staying in shape, but it's actually something where I can take my mind off things. When I go to the gym, I mean with Artosis for example, I always talk about StarCraft when we're there, but when I go alone, headphones, music in my ears, and I just completely don't think about anything, and that's my time of the day where I can relax.
And how do you split up your muscle parts? Are you training back together with biceps, or how do you split it up?
I always change it every few months. Right now I do, well actually we changed it just now, so let me think about that. We do arms one day, like biceps and triceps. Usually I split them up, but at this point for the next few months we're going to do them in one training session. I have then my chest and triceps, sorry not triceps but shoulders, and the other day is like back and legs.
Do you do mostly free weights, or do you stick to the machines, and how do you...
It depends a little bit. We just changed the gyms, so this is also one of the reasons why we changed our routine and the split. But usually I try to go to the free weights, but only, not for all of them. For example, shoulders and side lifting, I do at cables, because I feel that the movement is much smoother, it's better, and I'm not one of those guys who really has to go to the free weights because he thinks it's always better. I actually think that a lot of exercises are better when you do them at the cables, because you have a constant pull on the muscles. So bench pressing and all these things, free weights, but like my shoulders and also a couple of back exercises, I try to stick to the cables.
And I mean, for how long have you been like focusing on doing exercising and so on? It's quite a lot for a long time, right?
Yeah, I mean I always did a lot of sports even when I was a child, and at some point when I went to university I couldn't keep up with the regular training hours anymore. It was just too much, I couldn't dedicate the time, so I had to be a little bit more flexible, and that was the time when I started going to the gym. At the same time I injured myself like really bad. I had dislocated my shoulder for 4 times, needed surgery, but had to wait 4.5 years because of how the German school system works. Sports were one of my majors, so if I decided to get surgery, I couldn't have finished school, so I wouldn't have been able to go to university, so I had to wait, and during that time I dislocated the shoulder 3 times again, which was really annoying and pretty painful. So as soon as I was done with school I could finally get surgery, and from that point on I had to build my muscles up again. If you looked at my back you could really see the shoulder dropping like this down, because they had to cut through all the muscles in my left shoulder to get through the access points and everything. And from that point on I needed to train it up again. So that was back in 2002 I think. So since then, I've always been going to the gym, on and off, depending on how much time I have.
Does that injury affect you anyway in your workout?
No, not really anymore. I mean, sometimes I feel it, and my shoulder is a little bit more, my left shoulder is a little bit more restricted than my right one, but in terms of weights, it doesn't really affect me. I feel it sometimes that something's different, but it doesn't affect me too much. But things like that are reasons why I kind of dodge certain exercises. I have like a knee injury, I had a problem with biking accident at some point, and so I usually try to avoid squats, which I would love to do, and right now my knee's completely fine. But in the past I had it that when I overtrained, trained a little bit too much, then I felt it and it started hurting, so why risk it? There's no point. There are enough exercises that you can just substitute.
And yeah, also, I mean, exercising is one thing, but also the diet. I mean, obviously, if you're spending a lot of time at the gym you want to get max results out, you need to think about what you're, putting into yourself as well. Do you give a lot of thought to your diet?
Yeah, I definitely do. I usually try to dodge fast food as much as I can. Every now and then a pizza is fine. Going to McDonald's every 3 months or whatever, that's okay. So I'm not like weighing, I'm not looking into like how many grams did I eat today. It's not that bad. But for a lot of things, I really try to look at what I eat. In Germany, I had certain things that I could buy, like a mixture between yogurt and quark. Do you know what quark is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Americans don't know what it is.
Oh, no, they don't? Okay.
So they don't have it in Australia, they don't have it in Korea, which is really, really annoying for me.
Yeah.
And I mixed that together with yogurt because it's high protein, low fat, you mix in a couple of fruits, have a carbohydrates, it's healthy, and it's really tasty as well. Korea, they don't have that, so suddenly I had to change everything and try to find a few things. So for the first time in my life, I actually started taking protein, to a certain degree, like only a little bit, but that's one of my protein sources was just suddenly gone. I didn't know what to replace it with, so I'm still looking. And I had friends and family send oatmeal over to Korea. I couldn't find it anywhere. And that was always how I started my morning, like oatmeal, a little bit of milk and banana, so like nuts, I don't care. So that's really tasty, and it's also like something that doesn't have a lot of fat or anything or calories. So I pay attention to my diet, but only to a certain extent.
And there is, the balance between carbs, fat, and the protein. I mean, you obviously try to stay high on protein, I suppose.
Well, not too high. Usually in the Western society, you always have too many proteins anyway, so it doesn't really come into play. It's just a lot of marketing that is out there. So people that really think when they start exercising that they need to take like protein shakes or eat 5 steaks a day, 10 eggs. That's just bullshit. If you're like a bodybuilder, then you need that, but beginners, usually not, and I personally think I don't need that either. With a bit of protein every day and trying to cover the bases, that's gonna be fine. And I also try to not overdo it with nutrition. I did that once when I was preparing for a photo shooting and trying to get my body fat as low as possible. That was pretty cool, and I'm glad that I did it and was happy about the results. But the first thing that I did when the shooting was done is I got myself a big pizza and a beer. So you can do that, and it's nice if you have discipline, but if you really enjoy living and also eating, and I enjoy good food, Korea has a lot of good food to offer, then you need just to find a solid balance between the two.
Okay, and you mentioned, I want to get back a little bit into StarCraft. You mentioned you're working out a little bit with orthosis.
Yeah.
How is that working out for you? And are there any other people you're working out together with?
I actually worked with like most of the foreign pro gamers that came to Korea. Well, not all of them. TLO and a place like Haka Sailing, a different place. But everyone who was at the GOM house at one point or another went to the gym with me. But most of them gave up like really, really soon because they started hurting all over. And Dan wants to get in shape now that he has a wife and a child. He wants to get a little bit more fit, and he realized that he was really unhealthy in the last year because he traveled so much that he couldn't do anything. He gained a lot of weight. And at this point, he's doing really well. He listens to what I tell him. He's not over-eager and trying to just increase his weights like drastically all the time. So when I tell him, okay, listen, you have to go down a little bit and just concentrate on the movement a little bit more, make sure that everything's smooth, that you don't get like some nasty habits that will end up biting you in the ass later on, and so that you injure your back. Guys like doing, you know that stuff. I mean,
swinging it.
Exactly, swinging the entire time, doing the curls more with the back than with the biceps. Then that's really annoying. So I always try to make sure that he does everything correct, and he listens. He's like the best student at the gym ever, and he's really dedicated. He wants to go every day. Even when I tell him, now we have a day off, you must need time to regenerate. Just take it easy. He's like, why can't we go today? Okay, then I'm going to do cardio. He's really dedicated, really. He's motivated, and he's putting a lot of time in it, and it's really fun. I have a spotter now, so I have someone who helps me a little bit, and he makes me suffer, so he doesn't overdo it. He's not one of those guys who just rips the bar out of your hands and you're just standing there like, I wasn't done yet. But he really knows, he's really paying attention, so I love that.
Okay, well, thank you so much then for the interview. And finally, I want to ask one question.
Yeah.
If there's anybody out there like thoughts, oh, I want to have like a nice body like Haldor and stuff, what's your tips to people that want to start getting in shape, and you know, how should they start?
Have reasonable goals. Think about how often you can really go to the gym per week, and don't be like, I'm gonna change my life right now, I'm gonna go 5 times a week. Be reasonable about it. Go like once, twice. If you can go 3 times, that's awesome, but you don't have to. Be patient. Don't expect results within like 2 months or 3 months, and first of all, you are not going to see the results anyways because you see yourself in the mirror every day, so that's very subtle. And also, don't overdo it. Always try to just do the movement right, especially in the beginning, and don't be one of those guys who thinks I have to increase the weight and feels like a little bit, you know, weird if he doesn't keep up with everyone else at the gym. Go to the trainers that are there and let them help you with the program, because just doing what you read on the internet, what you see on YouTube, is usually not what you should go for. There's just too much stuff out there that's, I feel, only half truth. That's a big problem with the internet in my opinion. When you go for working out, you can read up everything, but you never know if the source of it is actually knows what he's doing, and if that what is advised is targeted or tailored towards your body and what you need. And most people don't really understand that, so I feel talking to the trainers at the gym or getting a personal trainer for a day helps you so much setting up a program and knowing how to do an exercise properly.
Thank you so much for the interview, and yeah, good luck with the StarCraft and the exercising in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.